I made it a priority my entire career to work closely with you. By the time I got to the Senate, 180 years old.
Well, good evening. How's everybody doing tonight? As always, I'm James Hayden. Welcome to Crusader Radio and podcast. Usually I write a script and then I don't stick to it, but tonight I didn't even write a script. Really just off the cuff, kind of a year in review. Quite the year it's been. Yeah, quite the year it's been. We've been through toilet paper shortages, pandemic, the whole nine. A lot of people died. You know, I was reading something earlier where someone was saying that COVID is just a flu and it's killed as many people as a regular flu. And I don't believe that's true. I believe we're somewhere around 10% of the population's getting wiped. But nonetheless, let's carry on. There is a kind of a small list I've pulled up. Let's take a look of all the wonderful, horrible things that have happened this year. Oh, and as always, I almost forgot to say the plug. Two things I forgot in my introduction. One, this is brought to you by the Civis Gravis Society, which is civisgravis.org, civisgravis.org. Also, a big thank you, shout out to all the emergency responders and military personnel that, well, their sacrifice keeps the wheels of freedom turning. Though it seems like our future president is going to try to slow them wheels down. Also, we have to remember we need to turn as many of those sheeple back into free-thinking people. CNN, NBC, Post, The Times, all of them have really done an insane job at creating mass hysteria, triggered panic, murderous rage, child fatalities, all in a temper tantrum over the previous election. But nonetheless, we're going to get to all that because, boy, we got a lot of stuff. We've got 15 minutes, and oh my goodness. Let's see. I found a little list of the worst things that happened in 2020. It says top 10, but I think it goes real extensive. According to them, the number one was the coronavirus outbreak. I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of stuff. We all know the stats. We all know the hell we've gone through, sitting indoors, toilet paper shortages. To anybody out there who had to go 24 hours without being able to wipe their ass with toilet paper, bless your heart. I got lucky. What I found out was all the local... Boy, I don't say this to be racist or negative. When I grew up, Haji was a character in a cartoon called Johnny Quest, and he always saved the day, so it was always a compliment. But our corner stores, or as the slang term is, Haji stores, those guys already had tons of toilet paper. There were 2 in my area, and they kept me well supplied. So next time, go to your local corner stores. Don't be afraid of the Middle Eastern ones either. They got a little warehouses in the back of their stores. They're listed number 2, the Australian bushfires. I believe there's a few of them still that continue. Number 3, oh my goodness, horrible the gentleman died, but this is not to me like lofty news of the 2020. Kobe Bryant death. Poor guy. The Minneapolis riots. Quite a few people died in those riots. And this is where I am rather appalled. I was rather a neutral individual when it came to politics, as far as looking at Republican and Democrat and all that. But what I've watched happen is people who associate themselves towards progressive, liberal, or part of the Democratic Party, or I hate to call them Democratic, they're not. They turned their head and snickered at the deaths. They turned their head and allowed such an obscene set of rules for murder. I mean, even children were murdered. And they said that's okay, all in the name of change. They try to purport it to being linked to oppression, but an oppression that is extraordinarily overly exaggerated and in many cases doesn't exist. The rioting and what's going on with it was wrong. I hate to say it, had I been president, I would have declared a national emergency and I would have put an end to it immediately. And they would have a choice, go home or fight. We don't care which. But I guess lucky for the liberal section of America, I was never president. Oh, they list number 5 as death of George Floyd, which should be up on number 4 because the Minneapolis riots are a result of George Floyd being used as an excuse. I have a copy of the video, or a link to the video, I should say, on our blog, where he's arrested. Not condoning the cop killing him at all. Gross negligence on the part of the officer. But you really have to watch the video and understand the kind of pressure that he was under. I think with all the things that were happening around him, that 3 minutes, 9 minutes could seem like 3 minutes. And you see where George Floyd was eating all his drugs. And what was happening is George Floyd was trying to play some kind of weird panic thing where they would let him go because he was in possession of a lot of fentanyl, which was a violation of his probation or his parole, I'm not sure which it was, in which he would have gone back to prison for a while. Also, George Floyd had held a pregnant woman at gunpoint. She was pregnant with his baby. And it wasn't because she was cheating or anything like that. He was fiending for his crack, yo. And he held her at gunpoint and demanded money. He held his baby's mama while she was pregnant at gunpoint for crack money. That's why you know he was just using an excuse. They used his name and his situation before they ever found out the quality or character of the man. And that really undermined their cause because it turned a lot of people off, or actually sent a lot of people against them. The Ukrainian Boeing 737 plane crash in Iran. I remember reading that briefly. That wasn't real important to me. I don't know if it was to you. Huge explosion occurs at central Beirut. Thailand mall shooting. Their society's going nuts. Infant beaten to death in Chicago. This is where we start getting into the child deaths. There was a shooting in Canada, which I guess is rare because they seem like some happy mofos. the explosion in Nashville on Christmas Day. Yesterday. They've got that listed pretty early, but yeah, that's a big thing. I was looking at the pictures, reading that. It seems though it was done in a manner that it wouldn't have a large number of casualties, but it's sending one hell of a message. Oh, Jakarta flooding, Puerto Rican earthquake, which I do recall, and I believe our good President Trump sent them aid and help. There was the Southwest Texas apartment shooting, Orange County, Florida club shooting. Neil Peart died, drummer from Rush. Plane crash in Pakistan. 8-year-old Cesaria Turner fatally shot in Atlanta. 8-year-old little girl shot to death over the horse crap. I'm going to have to change it to explicit because, boy, when I get into talking to the child deaths, I really have difficulty. I guess I relieve the upset with profanity. There was the Torian school shooting. Donald Trump got acquitted on his impeachment charges. We knew that was going to happen. That's not really a big deal. There was an 8-year-old beaten to death in Long Island. And, of course, tons of people overreacting to coronavirus. But, boy, overreacting is really relative to how you perceive it. Some people ignoring it, if you're paranoid about, I won't say paranoid, if you're fearful of corona with good reason, and you see people who ignore the law, or not even the law, just ignore any caution and don't seem to care, well, that to you could be an overreaction on their trust and safety. And, of course, there's the people that want you to wear the mask, and some of them forcibly so. Well, that's overreacting too. But then again, I don't know if any of it's overreacting. Some people are looking at it as they want to save the economy and the culture, and other people are looking at it as they want to save the individual lives, and both are important. Our new President-elect Joe Biden is going to have his hands full working all that out. Oh, let's get on. Let's see, number 24. The 11th Ebola outbreak resurfaces in the Congo. They're listing the term "okay boomer" to become a trend to fight adults. Some of our kids try to throw that term, but I'm not a boomer. I'm a Generation X. Boomers are my parents and further back. So it's kind of funny. They don't even really know how to use it correctly. There was also the murder of Little Hanant over, again, gang politics mixed with corona politics, mixed with, in my opinion, not exactly real oppression. One of the things is, I will agree that police, even black police and Puerto Rican police, approach minorities with what I guess seems like prejudice, but it's really not prejudice, it's a fear. So many cops get shot, and so many people, especially in the minority class, have nothing to live for, and they treat life as really just worthless. So in many ways, it's fear. Fear of the behavior that they've already observed. But that's for another time. I'm down to 33 seconds. Again, I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank emergency responders and military personnel. We need to make more sheeple into people. Remember, civisgravis.org. Civis Gravis Society is our producer, sponsor. We thank them deeply. And you guys have a good night, and God bless.